Hello everyone. Sorry, I'm still adjusting my little holder thingy here. What is it called? Selfie stick. There we go. Some light. Okay. So that was a weird start. Sorry about that, but we are live, and thank you so much for watching, whether you're watching live or you're catching this later. So in the next minute or two, Cristina is going to come on and join me, and we will chat with her. So right now I fill time as I wait for her to come on. And let me put this light so it's not reflecting in my glasses, because that's probably kind of weird looking. Doing my best. Aha! There we go. All right, let's see if I can do this without any issue. I'm pushing what I'm supposed to push and it's not doing anything. Okay. It's gonna work. Welcome everyone. Oh.
That was fast.
I love it when things work how they're supposed to work.
Yes, I was like, I don't see a notification. I saw a notification that you went live, but then I guess it worked out. So I'm not even going to try to know how.
Don't worry about it. It worked. It worked.
Yes.
So for my VIP group, they may not know I went live in your group last week and we had a bit of a difficulty.
Yes. Yes.
It's more of an audio than anything else now, but at least there's that. So today it's working. That's good.
Yes. Yes. So hopefully if you can watch it on another screen, it's all looking as it should.
Seems okay.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So far, so good. In fact, let me just keep that screen open as we are getting going here, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yep, looks good. Looks good. Okay.
Good.
Awesome.
All signs are pointing up, so I love it.
So, for those of you that are watching either now or later on the replay, Cristina did a little introductory video earlier today that I posted this afternoon, so go have a look at that. So we're not going to talk too much, I suppose, about your introduction. But we met through a women's networking group called DC Fempreneur not that long ago. I mean, like a month or two ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like longer in a good way, but yes.
Yes. And the funny thing is, and I've just put two and two together, we've never met in person. It's always been online.
Yeah.
So that shows you what things you can do online that are powerful.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, tell me kind of what your work looks like now, what you're doing, and how has it changed during coronavirus times?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks again for having me. This is so much fun to do. So thank you, and thank your community for sharing this time tonight with me. So I feel like my business, the how I'm doing it has probably changed more or evolved more than the what. So for example, before Corona, my services looked a little bit different. I was doing like more brand photo shoots, more high touch on set. I was doing packing services, which is the pause button has been pressed because nobody's traveling. I did, event styling, corporate events. I have a client who had some red carpet needs, so we've done that. And then, anywhere from that to high school formals and kind of personal shopping and things like that. Now, I feel like the platform has certainly allowed me, I've gone 100% virtual, and I think what that has done is allowed me to have greater reach. So in that respect, that has been the biggest change. And it actually has been a really nice change to be able to connect with people like you and kind of have people ready to make that connection, which is the first place I start when I work with my clients.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's one of the themes that I always find when I talk to women entrepreneurs and business owners. And I mean anyone, to be fair, but this period of time is all about picking ourselves up and pivoting. There's something we can do. There's some way to do it. Just got to figure out what
Yes.
it is.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It's been a great exercise in kind of using what we have, and actually it's been working out better than expected.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And by the way, anyone who's watching, again, live or replay, if you have a question about jewelry, about style, throw it in the comments. We'll see what happens.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this field? Like, when did you realize that this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny story, and I know that we don't have and it's 2 hours to talk about it, but I alluded in my introduction video that I have had kind of an eclectic mix of careers, none of which really are from industries that speak to each other. So I've been a collegiate basketball and volleyball coach. I've been spent time in the corporate sector, spent time in retail and as a entrepreneur, and most recently as a solopreneur. And I also grew up in a time where, and spent most of my adult life, minus the last 10 or so, 15 years, coloring inside the lines. And there really wasn't something called a wardrobe stylist. I mean, you had costume designers, and then you had like the business side. And then kind of in the late 80s, 90s, you started seeing this title of, celebrity stylist, and kind of this niche market. So it was really self-created by people who were in kind of an upper level industry connections. And actually, I've always loved fashion and style. And what I loved most about it was recognizing and actually personally experiencing the way in which it can act as a tool of empowerment. And whatever I could do, extrapolating my favorite things from all my careers and use those to help people realize like their the power that style and fashion and the intentionality that can come into play when we choose what we're wearing is really something that, as I started maturing and pivoting and going back to work, I made a promise to myself that after I had my kids, I took a break and was at home with them. And when I went back to do something, that it was going to be something that I was 100% in control of. And so I started, doing more styling pieces, and had people reaching out to me and recognizing they like something that I was doing for myself. And so it's really evolved over time, is kind of the long story.
I love it. I love it. We all love a story, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've evolved over time too. So I think that's a more common story than not, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's less common to have been, in the same career for a long, long time or something. I think we're all sort of evolving, especially women, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to throw this one in there, but I think you're going to be okay because I did share with her the questions beforehand. But that I talk about wellness all the time. Like, that's my thing. And mind, body, skin, like what you put on yourself, what you put in yourself. But you talk about wellness quite a bit too. So I'm going to add this in there and say, how did that kind of develop for you?
Yeah. So because of the connection and the way I work with my clients, which is really talking about mindset and setting this foundation of how we feel about ourselves and how we want to show up for in our lives, and making sure that what we're choosing to put on our bodies to wear is in alignment. And I feel like before you touch a shirt or put on a dress, there is this intentionality. What do I have to take on today? What is going to be required of me? You know, kind of what are my touchstones, right, that I need to show up as the best version of myself. And for me and the work that I do, it's connected through the way we are presenting our outward selves. So there is this kind of introspection and a little exercise of you know, how I'm going to show up and how I want to feel, even if you're not there yet. So the brave person that you want to be is the person that you're dressing. That is, so everything that you're putting on your body is, you need to feel that bravery. And if it doesn't serve that purpose, we're going on to the next thing. And whether it's a color or, you know, an accessory, it shows up differently for different people.
I love that. I love that. Because of course we know about the Marie Kondo Does This Bring Me Joy, which is sort of a cousin of that. But I love the bravery thing because we're trying to show up, right?
Right, right. Yeah, and it's different for everyone. And just a little side note, I always, when I'm working with people, we're always starting with what's already existing. I'm not a big proponent of ditch everything. And I think the added value that I bring is the ability to kind of, you know, maybe the way you're wearing this particular item isn't serving you, but if we make these tweaks or if we add this, then it's a whole different ballgame. So I feel like just a little plug for the nuance. It's not about the shirt, first and foremost.
Yeah, that's a great point. We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right? Yeah. So how are you working with people, or what are you helping people with now as we're starting to come out of the house, we're starting to like go back into public? What are you doing now with people?
Yeah, so I think the hottest like button is really, so it's funny, I was just talking to a friend about this, and I feel as though we're turning a corner that may look different, but the feeling is similar to when we started this process. So now there is still there is going to be, as things reopen, this heavy weight of like hyper consideration. So this is open. Should we go? Shouldn't we go? If we decide to go, is everybody else kind of on the same page? Have they been quarantining the way we've been? So there's this like heaviness of decision making. So I think, again, building this intentionality and setting before we get into, you know, the closet, we are setting an intention of how we want to show up. And so we have that is what we can control. And so that piece, I think, looks a little bit bigger than it may have looked 6 months ago. You know, my clients have been able to just kind of like jot some things down, particularly when we're doing like branding kind of styling, you know, what they want their brand to look like, how they want their brand to be received. But it's a little bit different. And I feel as though I'm not just those same people who I worked with on individual brands are coming. It's more of the whole identity or image, rather than kind of this compartmentalization of people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating stuff, actually. Really,
whoever knew that like getting dressed was going to be, you know, this kind of philosophical moment.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. That's it. Exactly right. So, okay. So we're in the house. We're thinking about going out of the house. Is now a good time for people to be revamping our closets sort of while we can? And do you help with that?
Yeah. So I love this question. It's probably my favorite question because I always think when there is any sort of transition, whether you're becoming an empty nester, you are starting a new job, you're just in a new season of life, it's always good to kind of check in with our toolkit and check in to see if we have everything that we need in order to make that season the best season that we can. And so the same way we would, when season changes and we make adjustments in our homes or, adjustments to our cars or we have our dental visits, it's always a good idea. I personally probably do it more than once a year. So I just think it's always a good time to kind of check in with what we need to get out of our wardrobe. And since we're always changing and evolving, so might the way we use our clothes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And people are saying thank you and hello. So hello.
Oh, yay.
I don't think you can see the comments.
I know I can't, but yay. Hi.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite question, that was your favorite question. My favorite question, and for purely selfish reasons, is what are one or two key things that we could change or we could at least look at to make a difference in how we come across?
So this is funny. So I'm going to share, I know we had talked about this previously, and I'm going to share one item that's got a teeny a bit of a financial investment, and then one that isn't. So my first tip isn't really, we're building this toolkit, right, of wardrobe, of tools. And so my first tip would be invest in a full-length mirror. So I know this is not mind-blowing, but I will be honest, I didn't have a full-length mirror. I was using my daughter's for a long time, and right? So
I don't have one.
We can't deal. Yeah, so we can't really deal and see what we need to see if we aren't literally positioning ourselves in a way that we can see our whole bodies. And as we do tiptoe back into real life, the Zoom mullet isn't going to be like the only kid in town. We're going to need to kind of dress beyond the waist and up. Now, I can certainly give tips for that deal. But I'll be honest, I have a difficult time with the sweatpants or pajamas on the bottom and then being dressed up top. I'm kind of like an all or nothing kind of
because the way you feel.
Yeah. Because of the way I feel, like I'm focused on the bottom. Now it might not that's a whole nother conversation, but that's my first tip and I will say you can get them at Bed Bath and Beyond for like $20. You can go to Home Goods and get them for like $70. And if you want to like make it a little bit fancier, and there's IKEA, there are places to go to get a good full length mirror.
It's a great point. I don't have one, so it's a great point. Yeah. And Charlotte is saying she doesn't have one either. So there we go. Yeah.
There we go. Well, maybe I'll share a post with all the different places that I've seen. And recently, to be honest, I did get one at Home Goods, and it's a great mirror. It has a stand, and it's great for small spaces too. So
excellent.
The second is zero financial cost, but a high investment in yourself. And that is take a step into whichever room has your clothing in it, and take a pen and paper and write down a couple words that you think of when you think of yourself, whether that's now or whether that's the person that you want to be or show up as. Put on your favorite outfit and that you have in your closet now, and then take note of the color, of the texture, of the fit, of the silhouette of the items that you're putting on. And then ask yourself honestly, as you're looking in your full-length mirror in your favorite outfit, does this outfit, and the way you're standing, take note of that too. Does this outfit align with the words that you used to describe yourself or the person that you want to be? And if they are in alignment, then you're on the right track. And that, my friends, is the beginning of the process of how I work with my clients.
Wow, powerful. Really, really
Yeah.
powerful. And I also think it's quite interesting because we all have a favorite outfit, right? Or even just favorite pants or favorite shirt.
Yeah.
And so it kind of helps you maybe to figure out, well, why is it my favorite? Like, what is it doing that makes it my favorite? So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And I feel like too, that's the intentionality piece. That is, like the way, whatever you have to take on that day, you are pulling from those descriptors each time you are getting dressed, each time you're shopping. And I mean, there are other things, and I do want to make a point. There are other strategies, kind of another 3 pillars that I use to kind of guide the process, that have to do more specifically with the clothing itself. But I wanted to get back to the question about the closet. So I am not a closet organizer, but there are strategies that I help walk through that certainly make the getting dressed experience more efficient and more empowering. So there are some, I mean, and they're super easy. You don't have to color code. You don't have to do any of that. But it's kind of a simple strategy and actually helps me get dressed every day.
Love it. Love it. Well, and this whole 3, I'm going to listen to this back and I'm going to get exactly what you said because I'm not writing anything down right now. But my team and I in our business, we're always talking about how do we want to come across? Where are we headed? What is the person that we're being, as if we're already there? And so if you're thinking all this stuff in your head, but you're not presenting that to the world, then there's a disconnect, right? So that's fascinating.
Yeah. And I also think now that we're looking at ourselves so much more, and I just things that are coming up in the way the world is right now, I think people are just much more in tune with that because there's not, you and I have spoken about, there's not all this other noise that's happening. We are focused, we're seeing ourselves in Zoom and Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives, and we are so in tune with how these changes are making us feel at the same time. So it's worth a glance at it anyway.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that it's almost 9 o'clock, let's see. Let's wrap this up by me asking, what if somebody wants to find out more about you, connect with you, work with you? How can they do that? How can they contact you?
Yeah, so if any of this piqued your interest even more, I would love to schedule a 30-minute complimentary discovery call together. It's one-on-one. I have a Calendly link, and so you just click it and schedule your time. If you don't see something that works, just DM me or message me on social, and we can coordinate that. I post most frequently on Instagram, and that is at Chris, CRI2 and girls. And that's just kind of what's going on if you want to keep up with what's happening in life with me in general, not just style related. And then kind of the mid-level, if you want live style demos or kind of what I'm loving, what I'm learning, what I'm tripping up on, all of those things related, resources for where to buy things. I have a Facebook group similar to this group, and it's called Cristina's Style Scoop Group. And you are invited to join me over there. I think we'll include everything in this after this video. And it's also
you can put it in the comment.
Perfect. Yeah. So all of those ways are great ways to get in touch.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Yay. I know we went over. So thank you so much. I am a chatty Cathy.
Oh, no, no. I knew it would be 15-ish minutes. So we went over when I was talking to. No big deal.
Oh, thanks, thanks. Well, I hope your community had got some value out of this. It was certainly fun to see you and talk about the thing that I love so much.
Yes, it was fun, and I'm obsessed with your glasses, I must
Oh,
tell you, because you said we both like colorful lipstick. So my next
yes.
step is going to be colorful glasses. That's where I'm
Oh, I
headed.
love it. I love it. That's so funny. Well, I'll send you some places that I have had great success with, and
Oh
so you
yeah,
can
I
take a
would
peek
love to
at.
know.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to know.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much,
Oh,
and
you're welcome.
that is it. Enjoy the
Yeah.
rest of your night.
Thanks. I look forward to chatting soon. And thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Yes, thanks everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye.